These are the Beats Studio Bud Plus, and they've arrived at just the right time. Let me explain. So last week I went to the gym, did a workout, came back here, and later that day went into my rucksack to retrieve my AirPods Pro 2, and they weren't there. So I did the first thing that you always do. I went on to Find My on my iPhone, and they weren't at the gym where I thought I'd left them. They were 2 miles down the road from here. So to cut a long story short, I ended up going to the place where Find My said my AirPods Pro 2 were. I couldn't find them. They were definitely there, and a lovely old lady came out and said, look, someone else lives in the flat opposite me, took my details, and I've heard nothing since. When Beats got in touch and said, do you fancy checking out the Beats Studio Buds Plus, I said, yes please. And that's because my favourite earbuds of all time, the AirPods Pro 2, have gone. So I need to see if these can match them, because on the face of it, these are £70 cheaper. They have most of the same features of the AirPods Pro 2. They are technically made by Apple, so why wouldn't you choose these over the AirPods Pro 2? Okay, so I've got the spec sheet here. So the Beats Studio Bud Plus will be available in the UK from the 12th of June for £179.99. They've got a custom acoustic platform, up to 1.6 times better active noise cancellation than the previous generation, transparency mode, 3 times larger mics for crisp, clear calls, spatial audio and Dolby Atmos support. They're also IPX4 sweat and water resistant, and rather than using Apple's H1 or H2 chip, these use their own custom Beats chip. However, they still have the same kind of features as AirPods Pro, so you can pair them very quickly to your iPhone, and also you can switch between Apple devices very, very fast without having to pair them to each of those devices separately. And if you're wondering, they do work with Find My, which is very useful for me, and they respond to Hey. And they work just as well with Android as well, so you can do the whole one-touch pairing. They're compatible with Find My device, and they can be automatically paired to all devices linked to the same Google account. As for the battery, there's up to 36 hours of playback. They are USB-C, and a 5-minute charge delivers 1 hour of playback. In terms of the design, they're pretty much the same as the previous generation, although as you can see here, there's a new clear version, which is very nothing like, but I like it. I think this is fantastic. So both the case and also the earbuds themselves are clear. You can see straight through them, see all the electronics inside. It's a nice little touch, I think, but you can get them in ivory and black as well. Let's start with the sound, and the Beats Studio Buds Plus are the kind of typical modern Beats sound, which is a really good thing. In the past, Beats headphones and earbuds were always mocked for being too bassy and all about form over function. Then Apple bought Beats and everything got better, basically. So the sound got more and more influenced by Apple's audio engineering team, and that can only be a good thing. And the Beats Studio Bud Plus sound great. Now, they're not going to win any audiophile awards, but that isn't the point. These are earbuds that are made for listening casually to music, working out, listening to podcasts, and just pottering about and enjoying yourself. No one is going to be sitting there and listening analytically to these. If you were being really critical, you might say they're still a little bit too bassy and a bit too toppy, but neither of those frequencies are offensive. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. That's what these earbuds are supposed to do, and they absolutely smash it. I think these sound fantastic for the money, and they coped with pretty much every piece of music I threw at them, including my headphone killer test track, Breathe Again by Pop Evil. That destroys particularly rubbish earbuds. These weren't destroyed by that record. That's impressive. If you want to use them for calls, they work fine. I can't get that excited about telephone calls with earbuds or headphones. Most of these products these days work fine for calls. The person can hear you, you can hear them. Great. Noise cancelling is really good. It's not as good as AirPods Pro 2, but I'll come on to that in a minute. And equally, at this price point, it's quite hard to find a decent pair of noise cancelling earbuds. The other brands don't seem to get it right at all, but because these come from the Apple family, well, you're in good hands. Transparency mode is pretty good. Again, not as good as AirPods Pro 2, but it lets in enough of the outside world for telephone calls and also just to make sure you're aware of what's going on. And that does bring me to the inevitable comparison. Okay, so the slight challenge that I have here, as you know, is that I don't have access to my AirPods Pro 2 anymore. So this part of the comparison I'm doing from memory. However, I've been using the AirPods Pro 2 day in, day out since they came out last year, so I'm very familiar with those earbuds. Starting with the sound, it's very comparable actually. The AirPods Pro 2 were a huge update on the AirPods Pro 1 when it came to the sound. Much fuller, much richer, much more detailed. These aren't far off that. They do have that fullness, that richness, that deep bass, those nice crisp highs. The only slight difference with these is that both the highs and the lows, like I mentioned earlier, are slightly boosted. So as always, it comes down to personal preference whether or not you prefer that kind of lively boosted sound versus the slightly more refined sound of the AirPods Pro 2. And as mentioned earlier, the Beats have the same ecosystem benefits and spatial audio support as AirPods Pro 2. So with that in mind, I think the choice between them comes down to three things. The first thing is the fit. So the Beats Studio Buds Plus are this little kind of chunky design without the stem, and I've never had a problem with these staying in my ears, or when I'm running they've never fallen out. They're very comfortable as well. The AirPods Pro 2 do have a stem, so the little stem that sticks out of your ear. Again, I've never had a problem with fit. They've always been very comfortable. They don't fall out while I'm running or working out. So again, it comes down to personal preference. If I had to choose between the two personally, I think it would be the AirPods Pro 2. I just prefer that stem design personally, but as I say, these are just as good in terms of fit and comfort. The next thing is noise cancellation and transparency. That is very good. Both of those features are very good on the Beats Studio Buds Plus, but they're not on a par with AirPods Pro 2. And it's my suspicion that most of that additional £70 that you spend on the AirPods Pro 2 goes towards the active noise cancelling and the transparency mode. Apple's earbuds are just class leading in that respect, and following WWDC this week, there are some very exciting updates coming to the AirPods Pro later this year. That includes adaptive volume and all sorts of stuff relating to environmental awareness. So you're not getting all of that with these, but you're still getting very good transparency and noise cancelling. The third thing is the price. These are £70 cheaper than the AirPods Pro 2, and when you bear in mind they're just as well made, they have most of the same features, they have great battery life, they've got USB-C charging, that can be quite a big differentiator for a lot of people. Just a quick comparison against the previous generation Studio Buds. Looks wise, they are pretty much identical, bar the clear casing on this one. Sound wise, these are better. Noise cancelling, these are better. Transparency mode, these are better. Battery life, these are better. My verdict on the Beats Studio Buds Plus is pretty straightforward. I think I'm going to stick with these now until if my AirPods Pro 2 show up, which I don't think they will, which might mean I end up using these for the rest of the year. I think Beats have got this absolutely spot on. I think they sit perfectly in the market. I think they're well priced based on what you get, and they deliver everything as they should. And Beats as a brand has just flourished under Apple's stewardship. I can't wait to see what they do next, but yeah, these are a great pair of earbuds. Highly recommended. However, if you still want to check out the AirPods Pro 2, keep watching for a link to my last review.